Mookie Wilson out in the midst of all that smoke. So timeout. An oil can Boyd, who was supposed to pitch Game 7, and then the rains came. And Wade Boggs, the Major League's leading hitter, can just sit and think of what might have been. We're still not really ready, and there is no breeze to help, but it is dissipating. Bill Buckner is on deck, but it will be up to Marty Barrett to keep the Sox very faint hopes alive. Barrett, 2 fly balls to right, a bunt single and grounded out. Strike. And there is His Honor the Mayor, standing in the back of that line of Mets. 1 ball, 1 strike. They have planned a ticker tape parade for the Mets tomorrow if they win tonight. They're going to check it first. No swing, says Jim Evans. One ball, now 2, and 1 strike. Half swing. That's going to cost a strike. And the Sox are down to their last strike. And this crowd is really ready to reach the heavens now. Fouled away.
This crowd will tell us what's happening.
Friends, tonight's NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game, we feel, is left-hander Sid Fernandez. Miller Lite is happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Sid Fernandez to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. 2 1/3 hitless innings with 4 strikeouts. Got him!
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1986 World Champion, New York Mets.
Friends, the World Series locker room is brought to you by Ford Division, who congratulates the 1986 World Champion New York Mets on an exciting World Series. And, of course, our thanks as well to the Boston Red Sox.
Ladies and gentlemen, the World Series MVP, Ray Knight.
We are in the victorious Met clubhouse, even as we look at Wade Boggs on the Red Sox bench. Commissioner Uberoth, the manager of the ball club, Davey Johnson, the general manager, Frank Cashin, and for the presentation of the trophy, Commissioner Uberoth.
Well, very quickly, pleased to tell you that there's a wire from the President of the United States congratulating the Mets. He's watched all the games. He's very happy to congratulate you, and he's invited the entire team, everyone from the organization, to the White House.
Well, that's very nice, and we certainly will go, and we appreciate that.
Let me tell you, it's very special for baseball, and I'd like to present you right now and this great big guy, if I can, his trophy.
Yeah, where's Freddie Wilpont? Fred Wilpont was going to be...
Looking for Fred Wilpont, one of the owners of the ball club.
Davey, you take it. You're stronger than me.
Davey, it's a heavy one. Great.
I think I can hold it.
7 games, you did it all the way. Congratulations.
It doesn't get any better than this, Peter.
No,
This is what it's all about.
Super.
Frank, we'll start with you. You were the architect of bringing this ball club along in a few years' time from a last-place team to a team that won 108 during the regular season and now reigns as world champions. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that we had great ownership. Mr. Wilpont, Mr. Doubleday give us the time to really rebuild this ball club, and people like Al Harrison and Joe McIlvain and Steve Shriver and Harry Minor, plus Davey and some great ball players, we were able to do it. So we'll always be appreciative of the ownership, and it's great to be a winner, as you know. And I thank the fans of New York and the people everywhere that supported us.
Let's get a word here from Davey. Strange and unfair as it might seem, if one thing or another broke a different way Saturday night, you come up short, and some people, unfair as it would have been, would have said failure.
Well, that's what this game's all about. You can never take anything for granted. Strange things happen. You just keep plugging away. And it happened for us. We deserve it. We had the best record in baseball. We should be the world champs.
Your thoughts about the Boston Red Sox?
They're a great ball club. It was very touch and go. Both, break here, break there, and they could have been world champs. But the good guys got it.
Is there any way to describe the roller coaster? 2 out, bottom of the 10th Saturday, and you're standing here now?
Well, that's baseball. That's what makes it so beautiful. It's never over till it's over. I think somebody said that. And this is what it's all about. This is what it's all worth sweating for.
Davey, congratulations.
Thank you, Bobby.
A quick word from Fred Wilpont, one of the owners of the ball club.
Bob, I'm very thrilled. I'm thrilled for New York. I'm thrilled for the New York Mets. Boston Red Sox have nothing to be ashamed of. They played great baseball, great character on both sides. Frank Cashin and his organization here is, I think, the best of baseball, and I love him. I love it for New York.
We're going to try and get Ray Knight up here. Before we speak with Ray Knight, the most valuable player, we're going to go to the other side, to the Boston clubhouse, and Marv Albert. Marv?
All right, Bob, and this man to my right, Bruce Hurst of the Red Sox, who had a splendid World Series, winning 2 games, not able to do it tonight, but on Saturday night, at one point, you were actually voted most valuable player of the series before the game was over. I know this has to be a difficult moment for you.
Well, I'd rather trade all that stuff for the World Championship. We battled hard all year long, and we came back, and today we tried, but we just didn't have enough, and you have to tip your hat to the Mets. They came back, we beat them the first 2, and they showed a lot of class and a lot of guts, and they have a lot of great players on their team, and you just have to give them credit.
Bruce, of course, this is 1986, but ball players are very superstitious, and you look back to the Red Sox of 67, of 46, of 75, and people say they are snake-bitten. What is your reaction to that? Did that have any effect on this ball club?
None whatsoever. What happened in the past doesn't have any bearing on what happened today. We had every opportunity to win. We had a chance to win on Game 6, and we didn't put it away. And we were in the game today, and then we just let it slip away. What happened in 46 and 75 and all those other years, it doesn't make any difference. It's a totally different ball club, different players, whole different cast of characters, and this team can win, and they'll be back.
All right, and we're told that Ray Knight won Most Valuable Player Award in the series, and the last 2 games, he's the man who did most of the damage.
He's a very good player. I felt like all along for me to win, he was one of the guys that I had to get out. He's a great hitter. He's a great 2-strike hitter. He doesn't strike out a lot, and he's an outstanding player, and I have to tip my hat to Ray. He did a great job for them and beat us.
All right, Bruce, thank you very much. And Ray Knight, the series MVP, is alongside Bob Costas. Let's get back to the Met locker room.
Marv, thank you. And just a moment ago, Ray, Davey Johnson was saying it's just baseball. It's the way it is. You can go from GOAT to hero, from the bottom to the top, and it happened for you certainly in such graphic fashion.
It surely did, man. I tell you, I was so down the other night after the error, but this is a game of redeeming features, and thank the good Lord, I had a chance to come back, and we won that ball game tonight. Just goes to show you, if you keep fighting, and there things can happen, and that's the way it's been for me all year, and just a great bunch of guys, and golly, I don't really know what to say. I'm just so excited and happy, and this is unbelievable.
The home run that snapped the tie.
Well, it was a fastball, 2-1. I was looking for a fastball tie ball game, and I'm a fastball hitter, and I just looked, pitch up and kind of in the strike zone. He threw it right there, and I had a good swing at it. I don't hit too many of them, but I knew that was gone if he was up enough.
What did they say to you? Can you remember it all when you hit home plate and then the dugout?
Boy, the last 2 nights, everything's been pretty numb for me. My concentration level's been so high. They just hugged me and gave me high fives and all that, and I don't really know what they said. I was just emotionally spent again. I've been exhausted the whole last couple of nights. Boy, let's go! Woo! And just the feeling of when they touch your hand and all that stuff is such a feeling of togetherness and closeness. They really said a lot, but I don't remember what they said.
Congratulations on being named MVP.
Thank you very much. Unbelievable.
Let's get Keith Hernandez in here.
You deserve it.
Keith, I was thinking as you came to bat in the 6th inning with the score 3-0 and the bases loaded. In 82, in the other World Series in which you played for the Cardinals, bottom of the 6th at Busch Stadium, trailing 3-1 bases loaded, left-handed pitcher on the mound. An almost unbelievably identical situation, and you also got a base hit there.
Well, I remember that well. I tied the game, and there was 2 outs at the time. I felt, Bob, I swung the bat great the whole series. And everybody was saying, well, you're not hitting the ball. And I said, well, you can't look at the box scores. I've been hitting the ball good the whole series and right at people. And I woke up this morning, I told my brother who was with me from California, Gary, I said, if I get a chance with men on base today, I'm going to be the man. And it just worked out great that way. I was at bat, I was so confident and relaxed. I was just up for that at bat. It was it's a situation you thrive on, but I didn't have any butterflies. I was having my great concentration.
On Saturday night, after you made the 2nd out and you're down by 2 runs in the bottom of the 10th, you went into Davey Johnson's office, and tell us what happened then.
Well, I went into Davey's office. I figured it was the last at bat of my season and our season. And I grabbed a Budweiser. Augie Bush will love that. And drank a Bud and sat in Davey's director's chair. And we got 2 hits. And then the 3rd hit, I got a run in, and all of a sudden the tying runs on base. I ran to my locker and got my glove. And then I said, I was going halfway out the door going to field, and I said, no, that chair's got hits in it, and I stayed right there. And that was a remarkable comeback.
Congratulations for being part of a world champion.
I promised my 3 daughters I would say hello, Jessie, Melissa, and Mary Elise, and my sister-in-law, Mary Horn. They're behind us all the way, and I love them.
I'll see him in a week.
And from the champagne shampoo, we go back upstairs to Vin Scully.
And meanwhile, down on the mound with Kevin Elster on his feet and other members of the Mets, it has evidently been a ritual. When the Mets clinched the division, clinched the pennant, why they sat on the mound, several of them. And tonight there are those who remembered Rick Aguilera. And then, of course, we can see Howard Johnson, and Kevin Elster is there. And there is Ron Darling. And they walked out with large bottles of champagne. And, of course, it's not for drinking. I think they spill much more than they ever thought of drinking. And now the crowd salutes them as they can say, truly, we are number one. Let's go back now to an outstanding young player in the series, Marty Barrett, and to Marv Albert.
Thank you, Vin. And Marty Barrett personally had a sensational series. But, Marty, as you take a look at what is taking place in the Met locker room and down on the field, as we just saw, what goes through your mind?
Well, I know right how they're feeling. You know, we were there when we came back on the Angels the same way they came back on us Saturday, and we came back and won it. And what can I say? They got the hits when they had to. Tonight they were down 3-0. They didn't give up, and they're a great ball club, and it's just a great finish to a great year for them.
Red Sox one strike away from winning it all Saturday night. How much does that hurt?
Well, it hurts. It hurts a lot, and I'm sure 2 weeks from now we're really going to be hurting and really think about how unbelievable that was. But, you know, it's funny. What goes around comes around, and I just didn't think it'd come around this quick. But we did the same thing against the Angels, but, you know, what can we say?
If you fellas could do one thing differently, if you could do it over, what would that be?
Probably get that last out Saturday night. I don't know. We played awful good ball. We played, you know, we were supposed to people thought we were going to lose this in 4 or 5 games. They picked us 5th at the start of the season. We got a great ball club, and we can all go back home for 2 weeks and relax, and then we got to start hitting the weights and start working out and go hard for next year.
Okay, Marty, congratulations on a superb World Series.
Thanks, Marv.
All right, Marty Barrett of the Red Sox. And for these 1986 Boston Red Sox, it was a season of many memories, but the memories fell short.
All my memories are safely packed, and my dreams are neatly folded away. I've got nothing to show that I came very close to a love that might have worked out okay. All the tables and chairs, they stand empty and bare, and there isn't any sign you were here. So just walk to the door and try not to get too near. You might look in my eyes and see all the pain, the sadness deep inside. Don't look in my eyes, 'cause that's where I keep the tears that I can't hide. If you just go, it'll be alright. I know I'll get through the night, and I'll even smile as we say our goodbyes. Just don't look in my eyes. Just don't look in my eyes.
Hey, Wade. Hey, John. Hey, Bruce. Hey, Calvin. Hey, Boston. Hold your head up. You gave it your best shot and came up a buck short. We'll be right back.
When was the last time you had a car like this to drive? Talking about the kind of car that brings the road alive. Have you driven a Ford? Then you don't know what you're missing. Have you driven a Ford lately? Oh yeah, yeah. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Thank you, Gary Carter.
Thank you, Jim Rice.
Thank you, Keith Hernandez.
Thank you, Roger Clemens.
Thank you, Dwight Gooden.
Thank you, Boston Red Sox.
Thank you, New York Mets.
And thank you for watching NBC Sports this year.
Back in the Med Clubhouse, and we're joined by Darryl Strawberry. Darryl, it had not been a good series for you, but then you touched one off in the 8th.
Well, yeah, Bobby, it had really not been a good series for me. Things have been going real tough on me. I was struggling during the whole series, but it was an important bat in that situation in the bottom of the 8th that we needed a big run to give us a lift and give Jesse a comfortable lead, and I was just very thankful that I got a good swing on the slider in. The ball was down and in right where I like it, and I got a good swing, and I got a chance to get the extensions that I wanted to get, and I felt good at getting the hold away.
What about the Gedman homer early in the game that was in and out of your glove?
Well, I was kind of disappointed that I didn't catch that ball. The ball, I felt that I had a good chance of catching the ball, and I got back to the wall just enough to jump. But as soon as I hit the wall went right out of my glove, and it's just one of those things that happen. But I'm just glad that everything turned out well, and we're world champs now. And I want to say hello to my mom and sisters and brothers, and my father's back in Southern Cal that was watching the game. I love them all.
I assume you and Davey Johnson are back on speaking terms now.
Well, I think, it's just a matter of me calming down. I was kind of disappointed that he took me out of a big game like that World Series, and nobody wants to get taken out of a game like that when you've been around all year and contribute to the ball club. And it's just something that happened, and it's overlooked now. We're world champs now, and I'm very pleased.
Darryl, thank you. Let's turn to Gary Carter. Gary, on Saturday, you were the last guy, 2 outs, nobody on base. You got it started.
Well, I'll tell you, Bob, that's the way this ball club played all season. We just never died. We've had the kind of character that has led us to this championship, and I just want to thank Jesus Christ for this, because I tell you, I've dreamed of this. I've dreamed of playing in this World Series, and it's finally happened. And these guys, we are down 2-0. We did the inevitable. We went into Boston, won 2 out of 3 there. We came back home and we won the 2 here. And Bob, it's the greatest feeling in the world. These guys just never stopped, and I'm just so happy that I was able to help contribute.
The point about toughness and character is well taken, because you made a shambles of the Eastern Division race, and everybody said they haven't been tested. They need a crucible to prove themselves, and you did against the Astros and Red Sox.
Well, there's no question. I give a lot of credit to that Astro ball club. They were very, very tough against us. And then this Boston ball club, both of them are champions as far as I'm concerned, and I guess once you get to the playoffs and you've won your division, you got to be considered champions, and we're just so thankful that we're involved in this playoff situation. And Bob, the dream has come true.
I know there's exhilaration here, but is there any moment when you look into the eyes of the guys wearing the other uniforms and empathize, as hard as they fought and as close as they came?
Well, there's got to be some empathy to a losing team. I mean, I've been on the losing end a lot of times, but when I saw the excitement that they had standing on top of the steps when we had those 2 outs in yesterday's ball game, and we were able to come back and win it, I could see the drawn faces. But more importantly, we just never died as well. I give them a lot of credit and all, but it just wasn't meant to be for us, Bob. I'm just so thankful.
Congratulations,
Thank
Gary.
you very much. Okay.
A moment ago, we paid tribute to the Boston Red Sox and their gallant fight. Now it's time to pay tribute to the world champions for 1986, the New York Mets.
I can see the glow of a distant sun. I can feel it inside. Maybe this day could be the one. I can hear the roar of a distant crowd. They are waiting for me, calling my name, shouting out loud. Holding on isn't always easy. I ain't gonna change my mind. road's not easy. Maybe the prize is small. After all the years of waiting, I'm gonna show them all.
And so it turned out to be the best of times for New York and the worst of times for Boston. And maybe Keith Hernandez said it so well at the very start when he said, it's a shame that somebody has to lose.
It is. It's a game of emotions. We felt the Red Sox. We felt the Mets. But when you look back, it's been a great baseball season, Vin, and you have to think about the Houston Astros. You have to think about Gene Mark, the California Angels. And now everybody's making plans for next year, and that's the way it has to be.
And, of course, for the New York Mets, it took 116 victories for Keith and Wally and Gary and Darrell and the rest of the world champions to be the tops, not only of the National League, but in the World Championship of 1986. We'll be right back and capture more in a moment.
You say Mitzi, Mitzi, not Papa, not Mama, Mitzi, Mitzi, Mitzi. So that's what they are. They're now singing the kids, Mitzi, Mitzi, Mitzi. See when they want food and everything. So the babies are even started. We got them from 4 years on, we got them from 10 years on, 15 years on, 18 years on, and we got them in a group. They have their own groups that come out here. It'd be just like you're giving a banquet at our ball games. Each group comes out with their own group, and it's been spellbound, and of course we've drawn over 1 million people who could do that.
Oh, and God rest his soul, how Casey Stengel would have loved it. A reminder, stay tuned following local news for The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson and Late Night with David Letterman, except on the West Coast, most Mountain Time zone stations where it will be seen at its regular time. It's heartbreak time in one dugout, Joe, and laughter and kicks in the other.
Been on both sides. Losing hurts worse than winning feels good.
One thing about the series, they thought there wouldn't be any drama, that it was all left in the league championship series, and maybe it was slow getting underway, but what a whale of a last 2 games.
Somehow baseball always manages to come up with that great 6th and 7th game.
And somehow the youngsters like All Can Boyd will learn to persevere and bounce back. And Gary Carter and his team, now having climbed the mountain, should certainly enjoy the view. From Shea Stadium in New York, for Joe Garagiola, this is Vin Scully, wishing you a very pleasant good evening.
A promotional fee has been paid to NBC by United Airlines, serving 13 cities in Asia and the Pacific. United, a fresh breeze across the Pacific.
This has been a presentation of NBC Sports, proud to be the network of the 1988 Summer Olympic Games.
Tuesday, Torello wants to end Chicago's reign of terror. His wife wants to end their marriage.
Tell me that you want me out of your life.
When can you pick up your clothes?
Crime Story, Tuesday.
Bet you can't guess what's up next on News 4 New York. The amazing Mets pull it off at Shea. Another come-from-behind win. This time, the Mets are the world champions, and we'll have team coverage at Shea as the celebration continues in the stands and the Mets locker room.
We'll share that sweet moment of victory with fans who could not be at the game. Also ahead, a former Air Force man arrested for spying for the Soviets, and 80 Americans receive a special honor at Ellis Island. Up next.
Have you ever been frustrated because the Noid ruined your pizza? The Noid loves to ruin pizza. Call Domino's Pizza. We avoid the Noid. We keep the Noid out and all this quality in. Taste the quality. Domino's Pizza delivers in less than 30 minutes.
If we add this new, who can help an expansion-minded airline find a new route to success? Whose cellular technology can help the airline's financial officers track down their investment banker? Who can design an office automation system to generate the feasibility study? Whose telecommunications software can expand the airline's reservation system? Who can help this business idea get off the ground? The answer is NYNEX.
Milk's got the kick that gives you more health kick, more nutrition in every pore. Health kick.
Hey, New York, get on my health kick. Milk. It's got the power I need for pure energy.
Kick. So get on a health kick, let it pour. America's favorite health kick. Get on a health kick, milk's got more. Have more milk, 'cause milk's got more.
The world is waiting. We can take you there with Air Canada style. See how much we care.
World class, worldwide. World class, worldwide.
So fly Air Canada for all the best you deserve. All over the world.
World class, worldwide.
Air Canada.
Does drug testing belong in your workplace? Starts Wednesday at 5 and 6.
The Miracle Mets go all the way at Shea.
This is News 4 New York with Chuck Scarborough and Sue Simmons.
Well, good evening. The New York Mets are baseball's 1986 world champions.
Yeah, and they won the World Series tonight the way they won virtually all of their postseason games. Gutsy, heart-stopping, come-from-behind baseball. Miracle upon miracle, from the brink of defeat to a 16th inning win in Houston. Then Saturday night at Shea, down 2 runs and 2 outs and 2 strikes in the bottom of the 10th. One swing of the bat away from extinction. The Mets squeezed out 3 desperation runs to win. And tonight in Game 7 at Shea, the series tied 3-3, down 3 runs into the 6th. The Mets once again reached into their bag of miracles, and they are the 1986 world champions. Len Berman begins our team coverage. Len?
Thank you, Chuck. They called them the Amazing Mets in 1969 when they last won the World Series. So what do you call these champions? They were dead and gone Saturday and came back. They looked dead in the 6th tonight, down 3-0. They came back to tie again. Call them doubly amazing. Tied 3-3 in the 7th. MVP Ray Knight with the big blow. He homered to left off Calvin Schiraldi. It broke the tie, and before the inning was out, the Mets led 6-3. And then Darryl Strawberry delivered his first home run and first RBI of the series. Shea went nuts. It was 7-5 Mets. And when Orosco got Barrett, that was it. 8-5 the final. The New York Mets proved there is life after death. And tonight, they are world champions. And please be kind to any Red Sox fan you encounter. They've been in 4 World Series since they last won with Babe Ruth in 1918. All 4 series went 7 games. They lost all 4. Doubly amazing. And I'll have a lot more later on.
They may have lost, but they gave us an awful lot of exciting baseball, too. Yeah. Hats off to the Red Sox.
I don't think I'm going to forget Wade Boggs' tears. That was heartbreaking. It all came down to this, though. Just one more win for the Mets gave them and New York City a world championship, something to brag about. News 4's Mike Taibbi and John Miller are standing by at Shea. First, let's go to Mike. Mike?
Yeah, Sue, you're looking now at the lights over the infield in Shea Stadium, the last bank of lights that's on. They will go off soon for the last time in this glorious 1986 baseball season. But the heat that those lights will generate and that the tenants of this ballpark will generate will warm the hearts of Mets fans all winter long. And that's not chauvinism, it's a statement of fact. This team was installed as the favorite last year when they were coming in second last year in the Eastern Division. In spring training, in the early part of this year when they broke out way in front, they were the favorites, they were unbeatable. But they learned, as they got into the playoffs, that it wasn't that easy. There was, as Bob Costas put it before, a crucible of a series against Houston, and then a game Red Sox team which was battling not only the Mets, but destiny. A tragic destiny for Red Sox fans, certainly, because as we just heard from Len Berman, they had played 4 World Series, gone 7 games each time, and lost each time. A word now about the Red Sox. Anybody who knows anything about Boston knows that the fans in that town are suffering intensely right now. Not as though they haven't been prepared for it. They've been hearing the doomsayers say for days and days and days that ultimately they would find a way to lose. Saturday it seemed predestined that they might, and tonight they did. Earlier this evening, when the Red Sox were up 3-0, one of the Boston writers came by and said, "There's the bait. They're giving the bait out for the Mets." And that's certainly what happened as the Mets came roaring back. And later on, that same writer came by and said, this isn't over yet with the Mets winning 6-3. There's still going to be something that'll happen that'll make the Red Sox think that they can get ever so close. They will get that close, and they will again fall short. A Boston writer with about 25 years of experience. An extraordinary World Series, as it turned out. Games 6 and 7 were sensational baseball games in terms of tension and the ability of the Mets to come back from adversity. The Mets coming on to win this. There will be celebration tonight and for many nights to come in New York City. And in Boston, there'll be pain. But as Red Smith once said, in answer to a writer who was complaining about a loss by the home team, a child has not died. And that's the message that Bostonians will have to get used to listening to for one more winter. I'm Mike Taibbi in a darkening Shea Stadium. Let's go now to John Miller, who's outside the ball yard. John?
Well, Mike, the action has shifted out here, and indeed there will be celebration. If there are any Boston Red Sox fans, we certainly can't find them in this parking lot tonight. What they've been saying in this crowd is it's like 1969 all over again. This is the moment they've been waiting for. As you can see, it's a rambunctious crowd. And from the outset, police were worried about this crowd. So a lot of manpower and horsepower were brought into this game. The usual complement for a baseball game is about 70 New York City police officers. But on this game, because of what you saw in the clincher where the fans took the field and tore it up, they brought in some 700 police officers, helmeted and with nightsticks. And the idea was not to ring the field this time so that the fans couldn't spill onto it. The idea was to ring the outside of the field, actually putting cops in the stands Jokingly, the chief said, we're going to fight them high. Of course, they didn't really have to fight them at all. Ultimately, there were, I think, only one arrest for disorderly conduct. The arrests that were made tonight, which is about 5, generally had to do with people in the parking lot. Now, near the end of the game, someone threw a smoke bomb onto the field. That halted the game briefly. No one was arrested for that act, but it was something less spectacular than the recent parachuting we saw. So finally, when the game did end, the police department brought on some 80 cops on horseback. 80 cops on horseback. And while a couple of stragglers managed to get on the field, those cops on horseback, by the way, the tab for that has been picked up by the Mets, did manage to ring the field and cause enough of a visual deterrent, along with the cops who were in the stands, so that they were able to keep the field, not to the point just that the fans didn't take the field, but to the point that the Mets actually came back to the field after the fans started to leave and were able to drink champagne on the mound. So they had their own private celebration. But to talk about this crowd here, they're pretty excited and they're happy. What do you guys say?
What? All right, the Mets are fantastic! Yeah!
Well, there you go. The scene at Shea Stadium, and obviously very happy crowd for their miracle makers. Back to you.
Of course, we have more. Tomorrow, News 4 will have live team coverage of the huge ticker tape parade for the world champion Mets beginning at noon. More after this.
Tonight, News 4 New York is sponsored by Amtrak Metroliner.
Introducing a new civilization where people have evolved beyond the need to stand in line. Mastered the art of being served when they wish. Developed technology for continuous communications. And conquered space for work and relaxation. Amtrak's new Metroliner service, the most advanced civilization from New York to Washington.
All aboard Amtrak.
Another 30 seconds of common sense. While you've been waiting for someone else to buy the first Hyundai Excel, over 120,000 of your friends and neighbors are enjoying their first Excels, making Hyundai the best-selling first-year import in history. And now the 87s are here, better than ever, and still starting at only $49.95. So, what are you waiting for? Hurry down to your Hyundai dealer. Bring a friend.
Call toll-free for the Hyundai dealer nearest you. We sell cars that make sense, so hurry.
Imagine a fabric so ingeniously made it lets your body breathe. Imagine a fabric so scientifically constructed it keeps out chill winds. Imagine a fabric so unique it virtually will not absorb a single drop of water.
Now, imagine that fabric as an elegant raincoat, more water resistant than the most expensive branded raincoat in the world. Imagine Tempo Europa raincoats only from London Fog.
To get away from hard rock or sleepy elevator music, come to the station that specializes in songs to sing along with. Light FM 106.7 WLTW.
Continuing the Mets story. Tonight it's champagne for the champions, a celebration certainly suited for the world's best baseball team, and that indeed they proved tonight. Sal Marciano is in the locker room right now, the Mets locker room, of course, and we're going to go to him. Sal?
Thank you, Chuck, and we're in the midst of a party here in the Mets clubhouse. Gary Carter is with me. An obvious question has to be, you're down 3-0, one hit until the 6th, and this team put it together with the rally.
Well, we really did, Sal, and that's the way it was all year for us. We just never died as a team. We had our backs up against the wall, if you remember, against Houston, and we came back in that ball game. Here we were down 2 games to nothing. We did the inevitable, went into Boston, won 2 out of 3 there, and now we're here, and we're the world champions. We're enjoying it. We're celebrating, and that's really what it's all about.
We may not get Ray Knight on the air here, but I understand he's been named most valuable player, and that is an incredible story unto itself.
Yes, it is, and the comeback player of the year as well. Ray had a fantastic year for us, a great series, and everybody played such a large part of this series. And as far as I'm concerned, we're all MVPs because we just did it all together, and that's what it's all about. We're the world champions, and that's really all that matters.
Congratulations. See you at the parade tomorrow,
right,
Gary. With me is Roger McDowell, who gets the win in relief, even though you watched the game on the bench.
Yeah, I'll take it any way I can get it. You know, Jesse comes in, does a fantastic job, and shoot, I screwed away with the win, but we'll take it because we just won in the end. That's all that matters.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay,
Congratulations. Okay, we'll have more from the clubhouse. One more, Lee Mazzilli. Another great story. Lee Mazzilli, picked up by the Mets in early August, went down to the minors so he could stay in the organization, was brought up in the World Series in Game 6. He comes through with a pinch hit single. Tonight he started the big rally with a pinch hit single in the 6th inning.
Well, I might have started it, Sal, but I'll tell you what, 23 other guys finished that rally for us, and we did it as a team. That's it.
I think Brooklyn exploded when you got your pinch single tonight.
I think 55,000 people in the stadium exploded. But anytime you can contribute to a team that's going to be the champions of the world, it is so gratifying and it is unbelievable. And for me, it's just like a Cinderella story. And I got the glass slipper right now. That's it. It can't be any better.
And drink that champagne from the glass slipper, too. Congratulations. Okay. All right, we'll have more from the Mets clubhouse. Let's get back to the studio.
All right, thank you, Sal.
Thank you. Of course, for Mets fans, there is only one story tonight. That is the Mets story, but there is other news. A former military technician who wanted to get back to at the Air Force for kicking him out of the Air Force is in jail tonight under arrest on spy charges. Alan John Davies allegedly tried to pass missile defense secrets to the Soviets to, quote, burn the government. Justice Department officials say Davies called the Soviet consulate in San Francisco to offer the information, but the call was intercepted by FBI agents who posed as Soviets and snared Davies. Davies was involuntarily discharged from the Air Force in June of 1984 for poor job performance. Sue?
President Reagan set in motion his major offensive in the war on drugs today by signing the new anti-drug law. With his signature, the president puts almost $2 billion to work in federal programs and in hiring hundreds of enforcement officers. Penalties on most serious convictions are also raised under the new law. President Reagan calls it the vaccine that is going to end the drug epidemic. President Reagan also signed an executive order today that starts up the Anti-Apartheid Act. Under it, business between the U.S. and South Africa will be drastically cut. President Reagan opposed the act, but Congress overrode him.
Governor Cuomo tonight is rethinking his demand that a supporter of Louis Farrakhan join his debate with GOP challenger Andrew O'Rourke. Cuomo says that he is asking Leonora Fulani how she agrees or disagrees with black Muslim leader. O'Rourke already said he won't appear with the new alliance candidate because of her link to Farrakhan, a man O'Rourke calls a hate-monger.
This woman and her party do not belong on the same platform with the great Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and I am surprised and shocked that the governor of this state
You condemn all the evil people for the bad things. I'm asking her, do you agree with those bad things? If she says yes, then you can condemn it. You can have a field day.
The public TV debate is set for Saturday night in Albany. Tonight, O'Rourke and Right to Life candidate Dennis Dillon agreed to separate 15-minute interviews instead of sharing the platform with Fulani.
In another round of ceremonies honoring the Statue of Liberty's 100th birthday, 80 Americans today were awarded Medals of Liberty. The medals were intended to placate ethnic groups who felt left out of Liberty Weekend. Many of the more celebrated recipients failed to show up, but enough did to make it a stirring event. With the winners on the dais, Andy Williams sang for the guests, among them former baseball star Joe DiMaggio, developer Donald Trump, and former boxing champ Muhammad Ali. The statue's real centennial will be observed tomorrow with another ceremony for invited guests at the foot of Miss Liberty.
As we continue on News 4, more on those miracle Mets, the 1986 world champions.
We'll hear from Len, Sal, and Marv when we return.
Only 2 imports have enough room to be classified as large cars by the EPA. There's this one, the Rolls-Royce Silver Spur limousine, and this one, the Saab 9000. The people who buy this car pay others to drive for them. The people who buy Saabs never let anyone else drive.
Test drive the new Saab 900 at your local Saab dealer.
Dreyfus meets with his accountant.
Your sources of income? Dreyfus Tax-Exempt Bond Fund? Dreyfus Intermediate Tax-Exempt Bond Fund? Dreyfus Money Market Tax-Exempt Fund? Again, no federal tax. Oh, Dreyfus New York Tax-Exempt Bond Fund? No federal, state, or city tax. No wonder you're king of tax-exempt bond funds. Shall we have lunch?
Starting the day with the New York Times won't guarantee it'll be a better day, but it can help make a difference.
Export.
The Times can give you the options that soften the edges and make life a little more interesting and a little more enjoyable.
Read it and weep. 7 zip.
With ideas and information meaningful to you, The Times can sharpen your mind and stimulate your senses.
No pizza before dinner, Michael.
It helps you make more of each day, whether it starts your day or just becomes a part of it.
How much salt goes in here, Dad?
Teaspoon. Every day, you'll discover something to savor.
It's delicious.
What's for dinner?
The New York Times. It adds life to your life.
There's only one thing Betty Furness will buy. News 4 New York. Is there any reason to watch anyone else?
We are going to chat a little more about the Mets this evening, and to kick things off, we have Len Berman here. Marv was out on the field. He was in the opposing locker room this evening, as I believe.
Yes, he was. Okay, we have Sal in the Mets locker room, and within one strike of being eliminated Saturday night, they are champions of the baseball world tonight. Somewhere in baseball heaven, Casey Stengel just whispered the word, amazing. The roof nearly caved in on the Mets in Game 7 today at Shea. Back-to-back homers for Boston in the second off Darling. Evans, then Gedman. Gedman's went off Strawberry's glove and over the wall. But down 3-0 in the sixth. Keith Hernandez with the big hit off Bruce Hurst. A 2-run single. Carter followed with a single. And it was tied 3-3. And the bottom of the seventh inning, series MVP Ray Knight, very nearly the GOAT Saturday night, hit the big home run off Calvin Schiraldi, 4-3 Mets. Then 6-3 through 7. And then it was time to call in the cavalry as Boston scored 2 runs. But in the 8th inning, Darryl Strawberry broke out of his Shea Stadium funk. He crushed a towering homer to make it 7-5. Final of 8-5. Orosco got Barrett, and the celebration was on. Let's go to Sal Marciano standing by in the Mets locker room. Sal.
Okay, we're in the Mets locker room, and Ray Knight's getting a champagne bath, and so is Keith Hernandez. First, Ray Knight, the MVP. You came back from the depths of a key era, and you end up being the most valuable player.
Well, Sal, this game's ups and downs. It's a game of redeeming features, as I've said so many times. Just glad to get that opportunity to be up there.
You have your own personal hairdresser here.
Yeah, my buddy here, my best buddy. But the whole thing is, in this game you're going to make errors and you're going to fail. You just don't want to cost your team, your teammates and everything. I'm just elated. I don't want to hear anything about that error, though. I've heard enough of that.
Keith, maybe he doesn't want to talk about himself, but tell me what the Mets think of Ray Knight.
Hey, let me tell you, Ray, there's a lot of guys that have gotten a lot of publicity about being leaders on this team. And I'm speaking from the heart. Okay, Ray and I got so close this year, and we didn't last year because Ray had such a difficult season. And, when you're having a bad season and you're wondering whether because of Ray's injuries, and Ray can always hit. I played against Ray in AAA, and Ray had known each other for years, since '74. And just have Ray get the MVP. And really, Ray is the deserving MVP. He got the gutty hits for us and deep in the count behind. But getting back to his leadership, I tend to get most of the press for leadership. But Ray is the unsung hero of this club. Ray's a very giving person, and I honestly feel that Ray gives more to this team than I do. I give myself to this team, but Ray gives himself more than anybody on this team, helping the young kids with advice, and it couldn't have happened to a finer man. He's my pallbearer when I die. He's going to outlive me, I know that.
On that happy note, we leave the Mets clubhouse. Congratulations. Now back to the studio.
Think they'll get any sleep tonight? Oh, by the way, the football game in the Meadowlands, the Giants lead Washington, hoping to tie for first, 27-20, late, very late in the game. And finally, we have all been through an emotional roller coaster the last 10 days. A review. Game 1 at Shea. A Tim Tuffle error. And Boston won Game 1, 1-0. Game 2, reliable Keith Hernandez with the error. The Mets threw away 2 games. But in Boston for Game 3, Lenny Dykstra got them going. The Red Sox defense faltered this time, and the Mets were alive. The Boston bubble also burst in Game 4. The agony of another loss, 4 straight home losses in this World Series. It was all even, 2 games apiece. The shaky defense continued in Game 5, another Red Sox win. And if you happened to drop in for Game 6, you saw a classic, as the Mets were given a second life, and the series was tied. Tonight, the picture tells the story. Wade Boggs, while the Mets celebrated on the mound. Turned out to be quite a World Series after all. Of course, we'll have a lot more tonight and tomorrow, and on we go.
All righty then.
Hey, so that was nice.
Yeah. Up next, Al Roker tells us that the sun's going to shine over that ticker tape parade.
Yeah, we'll have his forecast in just a second.
Flight 124, fly runway heading to 3000, right turn to 270. You are cleared for takeoff.
Introducing DuPont Certified Stainmaster Carpet. Stainmaster gives you a revolutionary new level of protection against stains and spills that's better than any other carpet you can buy today. Because you never know.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
New Stainmaster from DuPont Carpet Fibers.
Tonight, the sports report is sponsored by Stainmaster from DuPont.
This could be the fall you fall for Eastern Airlines Caribbean. Prices have dropped. The crowds have disappeared. So there's no better time to fall for our 18 destinations throughout the Caribbean and the Bahamas. Eastern San Juan, for example, is just $268 per person, complete with hotel and round-trip coach airfare. Call your travel agent or Eastern for complete details. Love may last forever, but our fall prices won't.
Well, what I can offer you, Jim, is a deal where we'll deliver a month earlier.
I see. A client that feels neglected.
I really don't think that's possible now.
Can give you the cold shoulder. Next time, stay in touch. With New York Telephone's low regional calling area rates, you can make your regular sales calls and that extra call. I'm glad you called. You'll find a much warmer reception. New York works on New York Telephone.
All you need now is a car that won't start. At least one car company won't leave you stranded. If one of their new cars ever breaks down, someone will be sent out to help. Anytime, any place. It's part of a roadside assistance plan called On Call. But the best part about this plan is that it comes with a Volvo. So you may never need it.
I chose the Lee Miles full auto ownership warranty, so now I'll never pay another cent for transmission repairs as long as I own the car. And that will be forever.
I think Al forecast a Mets win this evening, didn't he?
Who remembers?
His forecast is right on.
And now we got great weather for the parade coming up tomorrow. It is going to be gorgeous. Let's take a look right now. Satellite picture. You will see we've got some clouds over the northeast, but clearing is going to set itself in here as high pressure builds in. Great weather coming up this week. So our forecast tonight, cloudy skies, mid-40s to around 50 degrees for the low. Tomorrow morning for the World Series parade, around noontime, we are going to call for 67 degrees and sunny skies for our #1 Mets. And here's how we shape up for the rest of the day tomorrow. We are going to call for partly to mostly sunny skies, highs mid-60s to near 70 degrees, and then for tomorrow evening, clear, low to mid-40s for the overnight lows. And our 5 days ahead for you look like this. On Wednesday, partly sunny, 67 degrees, near 70, but then we cool off Thursday, sunshine, temperature of 57. Friday and Saturday, partly sunny, temperatures in the 60s. So great weather tomorrow. Come on down, 12 noon. It's going to be a party. Chuck and Sue.
All right. Well, we were going to go to Connie and get some viewpoints of the New York fans. However, our line, something's wrong, so we're going to go...
Died.
Huh?
Her battery died.
Her battery died. Let's go back to Sal.
Yeah, let me get 1/5. We're back in the Mets clubhouse. Bobby Ojeda, Kevin Mitchell, and Tim Tuffle, who was classy enough to come on after his big goof in the first game, but now he's a world champion.
I'm the world champion, and the whole team is, and we're all very excited about it. Whatever happened to the first game's all behind us.
Okay. Bobby Ojeda,
You ain't no. It's Bobby Ojeda. See, it don't hurt me. See, I have Bobby, how's it feel? It feels incredible, Mr. Tubble. Like you're swimming. Feels like I'm swimming, but I don't feel it. I don't feel a thing. Sal is off the air, buddy. These are shatterproof. These are... Would you quit drinking my beer? Do you always act like this, Kevin Mitchell? See? You always act I don't feel a thing. Buddies at your local supermarket. This interview is now over. Rainproof. Shatterproof.
Yeah, we
do we try it?
No. We want to thank Sal, though, for that illuminating interview there from the locker room. That's very nice.
We also want to thank Connie, who stood by all night in a bar in New York and nothing. Her battery died.
I'm not surprised that her battery died, standing by in a bar all night. Of course, we want to remind you at 12 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to have the victory parade for you right here on Channel 4. We'll be there to cover that for you. And, you know, earlier in the evening, they mentioned that the players mainly didn't drink the champagne. They like to spray it around. I'm not so sure that's true.
I think there was a problem there somewhere.
Yeah, I think
We're gathered here
guys.
together to talk about some real TV.
Thank you, Mets, for a heck of a season. Good night.
Introducing the most advanced civilization from New York to Washington, Amtrak's new Metroliner service.
All aboard Amtrak.
Gotta get a muffler. Sometimes you need a muffler, but you don't have a lot of time. Or money.
Gotta get a muffler.
And sometimes you just don't have a lot of faith.
Take it to Midas. You'll never be thrilled about replacing a muffler. But without fast service and good prices, you won't be sorry either.
Take it to Midas. He's gotta get a muffler. Take it to someone you trust.
If you're wondering what it can do on a dry highway, you're ready for an Audi.
These days, to get a job, you have to be bright, attractive, educated, articulate, hardworking, ambitious, and, do you know what? In a cup. Will it be your turn next to take a drug test? Watch a special report by David Diaz, The Drug Testing Dilemma, starting Wednesday at 5 and 6 on Channel 4.
During World War II, the Erie Basin Shipyard in Brooklyn employed 40,000 people. In 1983, the yard was closed. Today, with the help of Christine Nevin and Con Edison's Project Appleseed, this yard is active again.
Our Project Appleseed offers businesses lower electric rates to help rebuild special areas of New York. It's creating new jobs for people in Brooklyn and all around our city.
This has been another service message from the people of Con Edison.
This has been a presentation of News 4 New York.